Oh, I remember recently you were talking with the varsity about
Yeah.
some of the difficulties with online learning and it has a really heavy toll on both the instructors and also the students. How do you think this migration to this online learning, do you think that that in a way compromised our quality of education?
You hate to say it out loud, but it did. I mean, it couldn't not. So if we just kind of think about that a little bit, there's a lot of great online learning. So let's start at this point. When you have a professor who really knows how to design a great online experience, and when you have students who've come to that, knowing it's an online experience and ready to kind of deal with it that way, there can be I do online learning all the time. I take Coursera courses to learn about playing guitar and recording vocals and all this kind of stuff. And I find it very powerful and very good. The problem with this one is that some faculty were dragged, well, a lot of faculty were dragged online who didn't really, if they had the choice, they don't think of themselves as online. They're used to traditional approaches. So this was brand new for them. And you had a lot of students similarly pulled online, and it was new for them. And so let's start with the students. I'll bounce back and forth and we'll go through. But if we start with the students, the real challenge of online learning is self management. It's the fact that nobody is looking over your shoulder. Nobody really knows if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing or not. No one knows if you're falling behind. And so it becomes up to you to battle the two evil beasts of online learning, which are procrastination and distraction. Those two things make it really hard. A, procrastination just to start, and B, distraction once you start to not get pulled away somewhere else. And so you have to learn how to manage those things, which is a very powerful thing to learn, but you can sometimes fail often on that learning curve where you do get pulled somewhere else or you can't seem to get in front. Now you find yourself behind, and now we're all living in a stressful time, and now this is causing an additional level of stress on you. So yeah, there's an additional challenge for all of you guys. We could talk about how to battle those beasts. I have an online webinar on how to succeed at online learning as well. Let's flip to the other side for a moment. Those of us who do a lot of online learning sort of endorse this common saying that it takes about 3 years to get an online course right. The first version, there's always issues that you want to adjust and fix, and so you improve, you tweak, you learn, and after about 3 years, you have a really good course. You guys are running into draft one, often created by people who just don't have a lot of experience in doing this. They're well intentioned. They're trying their best. I'm so impressed that so many of the faculty have been able to step up and offer online learning at all. But they haven't. It's kind of like for many, it's been a challenge just to figure out how do I get my content out there? How do I test students in a reasonably um, correct way. And those parts are important, but the engagement in online learning is so important. Just for what I described, the procrastination and distraction. Part of the solution to that is the faculty member designing a course to do things like have short videos, for example. Don't do a 1 hour lecture. Have 10 to 15-minute videos and let a student watch that and think about it, and then follow it a little while later with another 10 or 15-minute video. Those sorts of approaches work well online. They allow students to fit learning where it fits. Um, and those are the things you learn as you do this over and on. So, what did you guys have? You're already ridiculously stressed with COVID. You come into a new form of learning that requires an additional skill of self-management that you may be still developing, and to the extent it's not there yet, that's going to cause more stress. And the actual course you're interacting with is probably not the quality that it will be. But it's an early version of the course, so all of those things are making it really challenging to be a student right now. I think we, from the institutional side, are trying to um, be clear that we understand that challenge, and as well as we can, and there's some friction in some of these things, mostly around academic integrity, but as well as we can, we're trying to be understanding with the students and trying to support them as much as we can. But yeah, sometimes it runs. So this is just one example to kind of get people thinking of the challenge from both sides. When it comes to that final exam, we used to love having you guys all together because then we knew that was you and we knew you didn't have anything with you other than what you needed. Once we go online, both of those things become hard to be sure of. In fact, we're sure you always do have stuff open when you're taking a test. And so the question becomes things like, well, here's the problem with that. There are some students who would have got a great mark without all that. They studied, they learned, they knew it. Those are the ones that should be getting the A's. They've done the learning. But now, if people can do quick Google searches or do whatever stuff, and they can get an A by being good at all of that, but never learning the course, they don't deserve the A. And not only do they not deserve the A, but they're making that person who does deserve the A less special than they should be. That person should be the one that has that grade. They've earned it the right way. And so as a professor, we worry about that. And we do things like have timed questions. You only have a minute to answer this question because we want the people who know it to be able to answer it and the people who have to look it up to not have time. But that adds another level of stress to you. Now you're doing exams where you've only got a minute to answer every question, and you're like, oh my goodness, don't you guys know how stressed we are already? And we do, and yet you want to have academic integrity. So that's the kind of battle I think that has been going on, and we're trying to find the right balance of that. There's no perfect answer, and it's stressful, I think, on all sides. And there are no right answers, and that's I think that's the real problem with COVID is trying to find an optimal approach that balances student mental health with academic integrity.